Okay. Welcome back to another episode of the In Raw Life podcast. We are so excited that you're here this week because we are not just speaking to one woman, we are speaking to quite a few women from our lives, and we are so excited to interview them because we have been talking all about being strong women this month, and now we have women from our community who we believe are just they own their strength in such beautiful ways. So we just had to do some interviews with them. But before we get to the interviews, I want to remind you that you can strengthen our podcast by rating, reviewing, and subscribing. Wherever you listen to the podcast, give us a 5-star rating, leave us a little review if you have the time, and subscribe so you get notifications every single Thursday morning that, hey, In Raw Life has a new episode out.
And you can also follow along with us on Instagram at inrawlife.co. You can find all of our craziness there and see some encouragement and see more of these people that we're talking to. And I also just want to say, full disclosure, complete raw, brutal honesty. Jessica said we're talking to multiple people this episode because we don't know how many, because Ciara has not fulfilled her quota. Not that there's a quota to fill of strong women to talk to, but we were trying to make it even, and I'm kind of running shy. So maybe you'll hear from 3, maybe you'll hear from 4, maybe I'll get a random 5th person in there.
Yeah.
You will find out in just moments. We will still find out in next week because the episode is only 4 days away. But oh dear, microphone's still plugged in. We're good.
Would like to be just like these women and be on this podcast in some sort of way, you can do that by sending us a voice clip of yourself saying strength to me means, and you fill in the blank, and you could be featured at the beginning of one of our episodes. You can send that to podcast@inrawlife.com.
Yeah, we really want to know what that means to you. So please send us a clip. Don't be shy. You can even, if you're too nervous to send a clip, you can send us an email with your description and we'll read it at the beginning and still give you full cred. So with all that being said, here you go. These are the beautiful interviews that these are the beautiful women that we spoke to and what being a strong, independent woman means to them. And guess what, YouTube? You get to see the end of our show at the beginning of our show because it's way easier to edit.
I was just gonna.
So don't even worry. They can just see the end ahead of time and then fast forward to the.
Okay.
If you really want to split it, you can. And that's another thing that only they will know on Thursday. But anyway, thank you for listening to all of these interviews and for challenging your mind to see what being a strong, independent woman means to you. And even if you're a man listening, you can still think about what being a strong, independent woman means, and then encourage the women in your life to be strong and independent and give them their voice and give them their strength by empowering them. What's so funny? What is so funny?
The way you're talking is funny. You're like, what it means to be strong and independent. And I was like, are you going to say and a woman too?
I don't know. I'm very hungry, so perhaps my voice is crazy. At least we have bloopers for something that wouldn't normally have bloopers. So hey bloopers.
I had thoughts.
Until next week.
Oh yeah, okay. Until next week, a way that you can connect with us and all of the beautiful women in our lives is if you find yourself feeling that you are an empowered, unstoppable woman, then you can join our Facebook group. It is the most amazing, diverse Facebook community of women who are passionate about life, passionate about self-growth, and just being a cool community and being there for each other. So show up there. You can come join us, and I would love to have you there. I also want to thank all of our interviewees because it takes a lot. It takes strength to tell your story, especially in 8 to 10 minutes. And nope. And if you listen to our Strong Independent Woman episode, you would know that now you can continue playing the drinking game with this episode, the intro and the outro, because I'm pretty sure Ciara said Strong Independent Woman at least 5 times, and now I just added
Yes.
Bye.
Drinking game. Drinking game. All right. That was great.
So loud. Okay. And then we also will post this to YouTube if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it'll be like a compilation of, I think we're doing 4 total interviews. Okay. So this is my friend Rosa, and we know each other way back now from our military, well, she still is a military spouse, but from our military spouse days, I want to say 2008, 2009, something like that. Yeah. She is a mother of 3. She is just an amazing human being, and I look up to her as someone who is a strong woman. So I wanted to interview her for this because why not? That's what I get to do. So Rosa, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little more, what you do for work or what you do in life and kind of your family?
Yeah. So I work for a nonprofit organization called Youth Villages. I am a licensed mental health therapist by trade, but for them, I'm a clinical manager. And that just means that I oversee some of the work that we do, partnering with other agencies across the country, making sure that we're offering some great services for young adults aging out of the foster care system. So I've been with Youth Villages for about 9 years. And then I also do some private practice stuff. I do some immigration evaluations to help undocumented immigrants gain some sort of documentation in the United States. So
that's so amazing. I knew it, but I even forgot about the fact, like what you used to do too when we lived in Jacksonville. And yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And okay, so what does it mean to you? Because I know you are one and you know many, but what does it mean to you to be a strong, independent woman?
Yeah, I think to me, it just means kind of embodying this idea that no matter what happens, no matter what life throws at you, you handle it. I mean, it doesn't always have to be pretty. You don't always have to be happy about it. I think that's really important. But then you come out on the other side, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah, and that's what we talk about a lot. And that's especially what we wanted to do here is talk to women who we know who have been through it and have come out the other side just like blossoming and living life.
Yeah.
So can you share with us a story, something that you've been through, struggled with, and come out the other side and what that looks like?
Yeah. So I'd love to do kind of a 2-parter, if that's okay, Jess.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of first and foremost, I think about my mom. So it's not my story, but it feels like this is kind of where it all started. Yeah. We were born in Honduras, a third world country. We didn't have anything. And then her second oldest son gets cancer, osteosarcoma. The doctors out there cannot do anything about it. She's stuck. Fast forward, she moves to the United States to get him care, but she's literally a single mom with 4 young kids. She's not a citizen. We're not on welfare. We don't get services of any kind. And she literally pulled herself up by the bootstraps, and we're all 4 adults now. We're all, doing great, in our respective careers or what we're doing. So I think for me, that's kind of the first and foremost, because I can't even imagine.
Your mom is an amazing woman. I've always looked up to her.
Yeah. So, I think when you think about strong and independent, can you imagine coming to a country where you don't know the language and you don't know anyone because you got to save your son's life, right? So just that idea is kind of bizarre to me that she did so much and kind of made it work. So
all 4 of you are definitely a testament to who she is as a person, a mom, a woman, everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my story is not nearly as cool. But, you know, Jess, you know this, I got married when I was 18, right? Like I had a full ride scholarship to a university that I wanted to go to. I was going to be an attorney. I had all of these dreams and I didn't go that path. I got married at 18. It was a bad, as a very subtle way to put it, relationship. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Kind of as a strong, independent woman, I think sometimes we get into these relationships and they kind of suck your soul. You're not the strong, independent version of yourself. Sometimes you're kind of the worst version of yourself. So I was an 18-year-old bride, moved, 1,200 miles away from my family, ended up pregnant with my daughter, and I love her, and she's everything you could ever hope and dream for. She's also, I mean, Jess, you haven't seen her in a while, but she's just this gorgeous, intelligent, all of the things.
It beats out of the pictures online, but I can imagine.
And her dad didn't really see that for either of us. So, I was really young and I found myself to be a single mom, and I didn't have a lot of money and I didn't have a lot of, options. I moved back home and my family did what they could to help, but at the same time, I really needed to find my own way. So, I worked 3 jobs to finish my undergraduate degree. Then I was working 3 jobs to finish my graduate degree. Then I was working 2 jobs to finish my licensure, and kind of did all of this as a single mom until I met my current husband. So
seriously, I mean, I was there and saw you go through it, and sometimes we talked about it, sometimes we didn't. And then I didn't go through quite what you did, but then went through my own version of it. And it's just, I remember feeling that I'm so weak, but I remember looking at you and thinking, oh, like, I know how strong and amazing she is, and she's going through it and she's figuring this out. And then I'm sure you've heard this, and I will tell you this because you were completely strong going through it, because that was a big, huge rock on your back. But like then hearing people tell me too, like, no, like you are so strong for persevering in whatever it is that you did do. And I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
And then like finding ourselves again. Yeah.
You don't always feel like you're being strong. I think for me, at least, Jess, it was survival, right? Like it was survival in kind of weird ways, because you also have Emmeline. And so when you're thinking about survival, it's not just, did I wake up and, brush my teeth? For you, it's, do you wake up? Do you brush your teeth? Did you take care of your kid? Did you also find things to nurture, their creativity and there are so many other things that you have to think about for surviving in that situation.
Yes. Yeah. And making sure that they're not going to be ruined people one day, and that you are going to be okay, and that everyone's going to be okay. Yeah. Your story. I love how your story has continued, and like still getting to see it and still getting to connect from time to time.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we got to connect. I mean, I think it's fantastic where I ended up, right? Like I hate what I went through, but now I'm happily married. We've got 3 kids together. My career is still blossoming. Like, I can't complain. So it's
you're
nice
doing amazing things. Like, you're not just doing amazing things with your family, but you're doing amazing things for work and in the world. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. So I have one more question to close it out that I did not tell you I was going to ask you, because I want to hear what you'll say. So we ask this of all of our guests that we have on the podcast, because we are all about being amazing people, being who we are, and loving ourselves. So what is your favorite thing about you?
I like to think I'm a problem solver.
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the best at math. I'm not the best, I don't have those kinds of things, but I love that I can work through problems. That's what I do for work. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see an obstacle and it's not an obstacle. You just figure out how to move it.
I try, yeah. And sometimes I think that's accepting that, some things don't work out the way we want them to. Literally, that's what I do for work. We work with young people who are aging out of the foster care system, and we cannot change their past, and we can't, fix things for them. So we just work on problem solving and helping them get to the best place they can be. So
Oh, that is amazing. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. It was so great to see you.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna end the recording and then I'm gonna change a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I love how, I mean, we kind of align like the two different things, like what you guys do, because you're really, you're just speaking your truth and talking authentically, and I love it.
And I love that what you guys are doing too. I wish that Megan could be a part of this too, because I know she would be excited, because like what
I would love to do more like collaboration with you guys. So
I'm gonna tell
you. Yes, definitely. I want to do that. So this is part of just like we're gonna have like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 women from our community that we just kind of wanted to interview and talk about being strong, independent women, because that's what we're doing all of July on the podcast. So
nice.
It'll probably be like 5-10 minutes just answering questions and whatever you want to talk about. So,
okay.
To start, can you tell us who you are, your name, what you do, and just kind of a little bit more about you?
Okay. My name is Amber. I'm a teacher. I also work at a boutique. And I'm 27 and I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina.
And Amber seriously is one of the most genuine, kind people I've ever known. I used to work with her. I don't know, we worked together for what, 2-3 years?
It was a good while.
Known her for longer now. And she's a joy to work with, and she is so amazing with children. I wish that when I have I've told her this before, and even though we don't live near each other anymore, whenever I have more children, if I do, I would want them to be Amber's.
And I would love that.
I would love that too. Maybe, who knows? You just never know where life takes us.
I mean, we're still aligned for a reason, so who knows what's gonna happen.
Exactly. Okay. Can you tell us, what does it mean to you to be a strong, independent woman?
To me, a strong, independent woman is a woman who doesn't let her life obstacles define her. So someone who takes life by the balls, basically, and makes her own outcome instead of letting life make her outcome for her.
Yes, being proactive. I love that.
Yes.
That's huge. Oh, I love that. That's so beautiful. Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your story and something that you have overcome and taken by the balls?
Okay. So last year in September, my husband basically just left very unexpectedly. So and we had been together since I was 17. So I kind of had to restart and create a new life that I did not expect to have to create. So when he left, the first thing I did was I got another job, and I just started focusing on myself, because my life had always been what we're going to do, or what was best for us, what was best for him, never just Amber. And that's basically what I did. I rethought my goals. I reframed instead of trying to create my own future, I just started to sit back and kind of like let life happen. And ever since he left, ever since I've been doing my own thing, it's like all the goals that I had in place, or the things that I wanted to happen, are just naturally happening. And I think it takes us a change of mentality, a change of a positive attitude. And when you manifest the right things, it's all going to come to you. Did I answer the question?
Yes. Oh my gosh. And seriously, I mean, we have similar stories in that, even though they're completely different at the same time. And watching you from afar, since I don't live down there anymore, and go on this journey, I know I've reached out to you, but it's been beautiful to see, because you were so amazing before, and now watching your growth with it and how gracefully you're handling it is just, it's amazing. I love it.
I appreciate it.
You deserve everything that you're getting.
I appreciate it. It was definitely something that I didn't see coming. Like at this point in life, I thought that I would be having kids right now and settling down, but God did this for a reason. And I'm going kind of in the opposite direction that I imagined. And it's beautiful. It's been fun. Now I do miss cuddling somebody at night, but that'll come later.
I've been there too. And you know, it's funny, they say, I mean, you talk about like the manifesting and just kind of not letting things happen to you, but putting it out there and then see where it goes kind of thing.
Right.
You know, they always say as far as relationship stuff goes, and we're talking about being independent women, but that doesn't mean that we don't want to be with someone. We don't need someone, but we want someone. And they always say, oh, they'll come to you when you stop thinking better looking. And it's true, but it's not as simple as it sounds. It's the literally opening up your hands and letting it, like, knowing what's best for you and knowing what's going to happen for you and manifesting the right things. And then like opening your hands and letting it happen. That's when it happens, I think, from what I've experienced. As far as that goes, as far as business goes, relationships, friends, family, anything.
Yeah, I agree. The problem with me is patience though.
Oh, I'm totally with you. I had many conversations with God and the universe in the shower in those days where I was like, okay, I'm just letting go. Help me let go, please. I don't know how to let go. I just like, yeah, no, I'm totally with you.
The problem with me isn't necessarily like letting go, because I let go, but it's like, okay, now what?
Yes. Which is, it's like the next step of letting go. It's
letting go, I agree.
Oh, I've accepted it, but then now, but I want to take action on it.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Oh,
I don't know. But I'm happy though. Like, so many people have told me that ever since I just seem so happy and, you know, I seem like I've brightened them up more, and I don't know, like I said, everything happens for a reason. So
yeah,
I'm riding it.
I totally see it and I love it. I'm here for it.
I appreciate it.
Okay, I have one more question that I didn't tell you that I was going to ask you because I want your on the spot answer. And that is, what is your favorite thing about you?
Ooh. I think my favorite thing about myself is my growth, because like reflecting of my life, I went from thinking I was ugly to depending on a man's opinion to determine how I viewed myself, to now I finally see that I am beautiful and I am embracing it, and my body, my mind, my imperfections. Like, I wear laundry at night just for me, by myself. Like, this is all like, it's just been a pattern of growth, and I've been seeing it, especially now because I have more time to self-reflect. And that's my favorite part about me.
I love it. That's one of my favorite things about you too. Seriously, I can't say it enough how amazing it is watching and just getting to know you and see you go through it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thanks for doing the interview today. I promised it'd be short, but definitely we will. I want to do more collaborations with you and Megan because it's important. I'm going to be amazing. And
she will love it, and I love it, and I'm just happy to be here.
Well, good. Yay. Well, we will keep in touch. I'm going to stop. Stop.
And then I'm just going to introduce it, and then we'll just go for it. So, all right. I am here with Morgan. Morgan is a really good friend of mine. She's a mama of almost 2, 1 and 1 on the way. She's a doctor, and honestly, she's a badass. So when I knew we were doing an episode about strong women, Morgan was one of the first people that came to my mind. So Morgan, thank you so much for joining us on this interview.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I kind of gave away who you are and what you do, but tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, what you're doing. I mean, your name is Morgan. Obviously, we know that. So tell us about
It's great. You take the pressure off of me to have to introduce myself. That's great. Yes, my name is Morgan, and as you said, I'm a doctor. I'm a veterinarian, And I have a little boy, a 3-year-old, and like you said, one on the way. So expecting to have just pure chaos ensue in the next few weeks, potentially, as we await the second baby. I live with my husband in California, and I think that's sort of the life stage that I'm in right now, just preparation and waiting for the next baby, and probably total chaos to happen here shortly, but very excited also.
I love it. Okay, so what does it mean to you to be a strong, independent woman?
Yeah, I thought this is a really great question. And as I sort of thought about it a little bit more, I realized that the definition of this has probably changed for me over different seasons of life, which is really interesting as, you know, we learn more about ourselves and just in different experiences that we have throughout life. So I think for me, as a younger version of myself and maiden, I would have looked at being a strong, independent woman as someone who basically just didn't need anybody else and could do it all themselves, totally fly solo, and almost potentially to a fault. As I mature in age and have stepped into motherhood and different roles and learning so much more about myself, I realize, I mean, to have strength is great, but there's also a lot of strength to be found in vulnerability, and a lot of strength that you can find in being honest about your weaknesses. And that's not something I would have defined as a strength previously. And then independence, I did, of course, look up the definition, which is true to form of who I am. But there are many definitions, and I found them all quite interesting. The only one that seemed to resonate with me as being more of an honest definition is, and I'll just find it here so I don't misquote the dictionary, was capable of thinking and acting for oneself. Because many of the other definitions are, again, as I've learned and reflected more on life, of independence is just like the complete lack of need for other people. And I find that that's really not who we're designed or created to be. That there's such a strong need for other people. And in that weakness and vulnerability, you can still be strong and ask and request for help. So there's a difference, again, as I've aged up and gotten more mature and finding, yes, I still can do it all, and I could do it all. And that sounds maybe a little bit arrogant, but I also don't feel that as a woman I should or need to do it all, because that's bordering on martyrdom or suffering for myself. But the ability to think for myself and to still have, you know, this part of me that is separate from wife and mom and professional and all these things still defines me as an independent person. And I have my own desires and thoughts and the ability to act on those. But again, I just think as I've grown and learned so much more, the strong independent woman doesn't have that sort of in your face, what the world would have you say is like, I don't need a single person, I can do everything myself, I'm super strong, I have it all together. As the more I've reflected on my own life experiences, I find that that can honestly be a little bit more of a survival tactic, or a bit of like a trauma response, to be honest, to say I don't need anyone else, I can do it all myself. For me, has come out of hurt and being let down by other people. So it's been a growth, a path of growth and maturity in coming to this conclusion. But I do need other people, and I'm not going to do it all alone, even if I could. So there's strength in just acknowledging that and being able to be open about that.
I love it. That is such a good answer. And it's totally what we talk about on the podcast all the time, is vulnerability and not being afraid to ask for help when you need it, because that makes you stronger. So right, so beautifully said. Thank you, Morgan.
Oh, thank you.
So tell us your story, or something, like tell us a story of something you've overcome.
I have many stories of overcoming obstacles in life. I grew up super, super poor, like didn't always have running water poor, and didn't have heat many times poor, and like lived in a trailer that you could literally tow by a pickup truck poor. So, and with that, there was lots of family dynamic struggles, lots of abuse in the family, both directed towards the children and then also personal struggles with, not myself, sorry, with the parents in my life, with alcohol and drugs and things like that. So not to like make it sound like this, oh, I'm fumbling for the words. Not to make it sound like such a heavy situation, but it really was. And growing up in that, it's sort of like a pull yourself up by the bootstrap story, I guess, is there's really kind of two paths you can take in a situation like that. And one's to follow the course that you see laid in front of you and just perpetuate that cycle of unhealth and abuse and things like that, or really to take a complete 180 and decide that, which I did from a, as far as I can remember, really young age, is that that's not going to be the life for me. So just really working hard throughout my whole life to overcome what would have been obstacles set up for me in just the environment and family dynamic that I was raised in. And that in and of itself has been a struggle and a challenge, and something that, again, forged my independence and really that path of feeling like I can do it all myself and I'm going to do it all myself, which has now manifested differently as I find healing and understanding. But also that in doing that, it's like a framework of rethinking how I do everything in life, how I mother, how I parent, and all of these paradigms and like family patterns that I really try to continue to overcome and come out of, because I see that there's really no benefit in being in those situations. So it's kind of been a lifelong journey, and I'm sure will continue to be just part of an influence of who I am and the character that I have. But I guess that's sort of like overcoming multiple obstacles that all manifested, I guess, in an early childhood experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that I've always found so beautiful in you, is the fact that you like purposefully and intentionally choose to live the way you do, which is not the way you were raised. And that, like, it very much shows that it takes effort, because it's not easy. I know from my own upbringing, it's not easy to change paths, especially if they've been rooted for generations, and you
Of course
have completely diverted that, and it's inspiring. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Of course.
And the last question is kind of a hard one for some people, but I want you to shower a little self-love on yourself and tell me what's your favorite thing about you.
It's so funny when I was thinking of this, again, not to sound so egocentric, but I've really come to a spot in my life where I enjoy myself. It's not to say I don't have growth, but I like who I am, and I like who I'm becoming, and it's exciting just to reflect back on where I've been, what I've been through, and yeah, I like myself. It makes me sound so so
it
arrogant,
doesn't
but
at all. I feel that way too. I'm like, man, like I think I'm doing something right. Is it wrong to think that I'm doing it right?
Right.
Like,
well, yes,
what am I
because
missing?
exactly, that's the narrative, right? That like there should be something to fix about you, and how could you like you? I'm like, if I would want to be friends with me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have plenty of flaws. Don't hear me wrong. But in general, I enjoy who I am and who I'm becoming, and I just see, again, I think motherhood has just highlighted this so much for me. I just see so much change and growth, and yeah, I mean, there's just capacity to love myself, which from that self-love, there's an outpouring of the ability to love others well and better. And so, yeah, and maybe it's maturity and age and wisdom as a woman in general, not to be so hard on oneself, and you know, to accept that this is who I am, this is who I'm becoming. Even something as so insidious in our culture as like body image and stuff. It's like this, I just be happy with myself, because what I find is no woman really is completely content with oneself. So what's the point in saying, you know, I wish like, I don't know, I wish my skin was a different color, or I wish things didn't hang in this direction. My nose was a different shape. I don't know. Pick something, right? We all typically tend to have something, and so I've just learned to stop wasting energy on those things that seem so frivolous, and to just enjoy myself. And there's always room for growth, but there's only one life to live here. So
Oh, Morgan, I love you so much.
I hope any of that made sense.
It definitely does. Oh, thank you so much for doing this interview and for finding time in your busy schedule to sit down and share your inspiration, because I love your perspective and your point of view. So
anytime for you.
All right, I'm going to stop recording and then show you my so amazing babysitting technique I have set up.